Welcome back, everybody, to the Classic Rock Podcast for this extra edition. Coming up in today's show, we are in the company of the mightily talented and also very entertaining lead vocalist of the DamnTruth'S, Lee-La-Baum. Now, many of you, quote, groovy cats out there will know everything about one of Canada's finest exports. For the others, this is an introduction for you to a band whose very unique sound and brand of blues rock is ensuring the future is in very good hands indeed. And that is not all. Because just looking ahead, coming up, we've got some great guests appearing in the next few weeks. Glenn Hughes is going to be back on the eve of his 50th anniversary tour, celebrating the release of Burn. We're going to be looking back at his extraordinary life and career and celebrate some of the back catalogue that sometimes isn't played as much as it really should be. Today, for example, I've been listening to Resonate, which is a fantastic album. We were talking to Glenn over the weekend. Great conversation. Still manages to come up with stories and anecdotes that you simply have never heard of before. I mean, how many of you knew that he very nearly joined ELO, the Electric Light Orchestra? Yeah, he left Trapeze, moved in with Roy Wood, and 2 weeks later he left and went back again. Moving on. Lance Lopez is back with his first solo album in 5 years, and it's a sensational return as well for the blues rock prodigy. He's just put out basically the best album of his career, and he has got some story as well. We'll be looking back at his life story up until the point we are now with the release of this new album. And still there is more to tell you about. Lastly, from the original lineup of English heavy metal legends, Saxon, Graham Oliver joins us to look at a new 5-album box set and back to the band's rise to superstardom, from the clubs in Barnsley to the arenas of the world, the late 70s and the early 80s. What a great time it was for that band. What is your favourite Saxon track? I remember actually walking into a record store, you know, those places that used to sell records that we don't have anymore. And I remember seeing the 45, the single. It was in a picture sleeve, which was something else that was pretty rare at the time, and it was Wheels of Steel. And I'd never heard the band before, and I just looked at it, I thought, got to have that. And the rest is history, of course. Wheels of Steel was my pathway into Saxon. I followed that up, actually, and I've still got that single with the 12-inch version of my favourite track of theirs, 747, Strangers in the Night. What a song. What a riff. Right. It is time to move on. You built up a great live following. You worked tirelessly on the road. You've been out with some big names as well. Rival Sons, Styx. That was another big one. You sold out the Whiskey and ZZ Top.
Oh, yeah.
I know you had a great time with ZZ, who... And I'd like to bring up a quote here, who introduced you to the magic of Jack Daniels.
Absolutely, man. Mr. Gibbons is the coolest dude I have ever met. I have to say, like, hands down, the guy is, they get on stage, they do their thing so well. This was before Dusty passed, and so it was the three of them, and the first thing out of his mouth, after the first song on stage in the auditorium is like, thank you all for coming. We're the same three guys playing the same songs for 50 years and the same three chords, and you're still here. And I'm like, oh my God, this man is the best. And they play for an hour and a half, and they're phenomenal. And then when the night's over, we're all in our we're backstage, and we're just like giddy with excitement. We can't believe that we got to open for these legends. And then Billy's head pops in, and he's wearing this fuzzy hat and a onesie, a pajama onesie that he's changed into miraculously right after the gig. And he's like, "Can I come in?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding?" We're all like falling over backwards, and we had a drink, and he told us that you got to drink Jack Daniels with ice, and ever since that's what we're drinking. It's the Reverend has spoken. You know.
You were a Jameson's and Glenmorangie band before
That's
that.
right. That's right, man.
And your drink of choice, apparently, if this is right, is Guinness. Where did you pick this up from?
Oh, way too many Irish pubs as a child.
Yeah.
I do love my Guinness very much. I do. But I've changed a little bit. Yes, I can do the whiskey, and I also like gins. Gins are my thing now. Ever since our tours in the UK, I've tasted some delicious gins, and I think I'm slightly switching over. But don't tell Billy.